Michigan is also a battleground state, and late today it went to Joe Biden. Many of the final ballots came from Democratic strongholds like Detroit, and today there was unrest at a building in that city where ballots are being counted. Poll watchers are allowed in Michigan where vote counting is happening, but the room was at capacity. Angry crowds began pushing. Our Jeff Semple is in Detroit tonight. Jeff, what more can you tell us?
Well, Donna, take a look here just behind me. A few dozen protesters and a large number of police who are now standing guard in front of this building where some of the final ballots are being counted here in Michigan, a battleground state, of course, where tensions around that vote count are running very high.
A day of demonstrations in Detroit.
Tell me what democracy looks like!
Protesters demanding that every vote is counted after President Trump launched a lawsuit to stop the count in the battleground state.
If you want to declare the game is over before halftime, it depends that you ultimately are not interested in all of us winning.
What is your count? What is your count?
A group of Republican supporters tried to force their way into this building where the ballots were counted, but were stopped by police.
Move your hand! Move your foot, sir!
With Michigan's tally extremely tight, the Detroit area in Wayne County was among the last to count its ballots.
A lot of population there, a lot of Democratic voters, and at least in the city of Detroit, we know 9 out of 10 of those voters are voting for Mr. Biden.
A city 80% black with around 40% unemployment during the peak of the pandemic.
It's a difficult time, you know.
This auto worker was laid off this summer and cast his ballot for Biden.
I think everyone in Detroit wants change.
Back in 2016, Donald Trump won Michigan by the slimmest of margins, 0.3%, in part because Detroit didn't show up.
Looking at the polls, I think everybody thought that this was going to be a blowout for Hillary, and that didn't happen.
So this time, groups pushed to get out the vote, working the phones and offering free rides to polling stations.
We don't believe the polls, so it's like, no, act like he's really behind and vote like your life matters, because it really does.
They deployed this smartphone app that syncs a person's contacts with the voter list.
So rather than people just getting cold calls or cold text message, we have Uncle Henry reach out to Cousin Jamie, because that's who's going to listen.
This grassroots group made 25,000 calls and sent 8 million text messages. The result? Detroit's voter turnout is projected to be its highest in decades.
And the impact of those votes was hard to miss. When people here woke up this morning, Donald Trump was still leading in the state of Michigan, but suddenly Joe Biden pulled ahead after a large number of votes were reported from the city of Detroit. And as we know, Biden never looked back. Our projections now showing that the Democrats are expected to reclaim the state of Michigan.